It's been almost a year since I got my Apple Watch Ultra, and now that you can buy a used one for under $500, I want to share with you guys 7 positive things that I did not expect, along with 5 negatives or downsides about the Apple Watch Ultra, and let you guys know if you should buy one if you are still on the fence. Now, the first thing that I didn't expect is that I would wear it all the time. When I first got this thing, I thought it looked a bit too sporty and it wouldn't work for more formal events, so I kept my old gold stainless Apple Watch, but after swapping out the band for this $35 titanium band, it looks way better no matter what I am wearing, and I literally stopped wearing that gold one. Number 2 is the durability, and it is insane. Now, when Apple said that this thing is tough, they actually meant it. I've been doing a ton of construction for about the last half a year, and I've been wearing it pretty much all the time. I've been hitting it against things. I've actually dropped it a few times on the concrete as well, and I literally have not a single scratch on this thing. There might be 1 or 2 little nicks that aren't even noticeable, but this thing pretty much looks like new. The screen is also pristine, not a single scratch, and that is crazy for a year of hard use. Other Apple Watches, even the better stainless steel ones, do not look this good after a year. Number 3 is waterproofing. Now, it's obvious it's a watch, it should be waterproof, but I use mine all the time in water. Whenever we're out swimming, I keep it on. It's rated for up to 100 meters or 330 feet, so that is crazy. So you should be fine using it, but I've even swam with it in salt water, which people say you shouldn't do, but it has had no issues. And I love using this as a tool to control music. So I'll have music on either in the boat or on the beach, and then I can just switch songs, adjust it, and the connectivity, even at far distances, is excellent. So that has been really nice this last year. Now, going with that to number 4, that is the battery life. This thing lasts for days. In light usage, up to 3 days for me. Some people have actually mentioned 4, and then for heavier usage, 2 full days. And that is actually the biggest reason why I actually got this thing. Now, I recently made a video about battery life issues with my iPhone 14 Pro, but since I always have this thing on me, if or when my iPhone dies, I don't really have to worry about it much because I could still get notifications, texts, and calls on my watch, and even playing music, sending Bluetooth out, it works great. Now, speaking of that, that brings me to number 5, which I think most people don't even talk about, and that is cellular signal strength. Now, we've been going out camping, I've done hiking, and what I've noticed is that there are times where my wife, who has a Series 8, or my kids with the SE Apple Watch will not have cellular connectivity. The signal is not good enough, but my Ultra is able to get a signal. And that is a big deal if you're buying this thing to be able to have access to those kind of things when you are on the go. And that would be a big reason somebody might want to get the Ultra over a regular Apple Watch. Now, number 6 is battery longevity. For most of the year, I have not needed to check the battery health of the Ultra, but when I was making that iPhone video and my Pro Max hit 91% in about 10 or so months, I decided to check my watch, and I was really surprised when I saw 100% battery health, but I guess I shouldn't have. Batteries don't just degrade with heat and time, but also with cycles, and those are counted based on a full discharge and then charge. So because this Ultra lasts so long, and I charge mine most nights so it doesn't get too low, and with that I have optimized battery charging enabled, so it also doesn't stay at 100% for very long. The battery longevity on this thing is excellent. Now, my previous Apple Watch got down to 80% in just over 2 years, which means I wasn't eligible to get Apple Care replacement for the battery. And then at that point, at 80% battery health, it no longer lasted me a full day. And the same thing with my kid's first gen SE. Because he's not connected to an iPhone and it's connected with cellular, it literally dies during dinner time. And now the battery needs to get replaced. And because of that, I'm thinking of buying my kid an Apple Watch Ultra just for the battery life. I don't want to give him an iPhone yet, so I want him just to have a watch so I can still contact him and see where he's at. But right now it is dying so quickly that it kind of just defeats the purpose. And that will bring me into the negatives, but the last positive that surprised me is just the overall usability, especially with the crown being blocked. At first, I didn't really like this design, but I have had almost no accidental different presses that would enable different modes I don't want to say out loud that are very annoying, and wrapping up all the battery life, the super bright large screen, which I absolutely love, and that probably has to be the last one. Just the usability is amazing. Now, the first negative I have to talk about is the size. Now, right now, I am used to it, but if Apple would have made a smaller Apple Watch, there's a chance I could have got that one, and I definitely would have bought one for my kid, probably a used one, if they had a smaller size. Now, I know that a lot of people would have also bought one. For example, my wife, she would have liked one if they had a smaller size option. So I think Apple is losing out on a lot of sales for that. With that, the next downside is the thickness. When I first got it, I was very excited to use the sleep tracking features. Now, my old watch would die too quickly and it would take too long to charge for me to be able to use that. But with the Ultra's battery life, I was finally gonna do it, but unfortunately, I just couldn't get myself to consistently wear it because of the comfort. This thing is so much thicker than the standard Apple Watch that it just is flat out uncomfortable to sleep with. Because of that, I ended up going to the Smart Ring that we recently did a video on. Both Vadim and I are wearing them. That is great for that function. But if they could just make it a little bit thinner, that would be nice. If that would mean to go for lower battery life or not have the ultra bright screen, I don't know if I would want to make the trade-off because I love those features, but I definitely think that it would be a lot more comfortable being slightly thinner. Now, the next one is the action button. When this thing came out, I thought that was the coolest thing, having a programmable button built into the Apple Watch. But to be honest, after the first couple weeks or so, I pretty much stopped using it. Now, I had it preset to the exercise function, but sometimes I would just forget, and the auto detect feature works so well that it pops up right away, and I just started using that instead. Now, right now I have it mapped to the flashlight, but I also don't need that very often. My iPhone's flashlight is way better than just having the screen turn on, so I pretty much never use it. So if you guys have a good use case for the action button, let me know, but I think on the upcoming iPhones, that's gonna be something that's a lot more useful. Now, the next one is something that I would love Apple to put in, and that is regular Qi wireless charging. Being able to just place this anywhere on a Qi pad, in my car, on my desk, and to be able to charge it up would be really nice, especially if you're out and about. And this is not just with the Ultra, I think is in general, having something that's dedicated for that, needing a specific stand with a specific Apple Watch charger, or if I'm traveling, having to take something for it. I would just love to be able to just place this down and charge it. And I think Apple needs to get rid of that specific one that they control. And then the last downside is not really with the watch, but it's with the accessories. And that is the fact that Apple still does not make a titanium watch band. When they first released it, I thought maybe they would put something out a few months later, half a year later, but they haven't. I showed off this cheap one that I have bought, but unlike the Apple Watch with its crazy durability and fingerprint resistance, this band is all scratched up. And I think it'd be great if they made one that fit perfectly, had a perfect match, had the fingerprint resistance, and that would not get scratched up. So hopefully they do that with the next Apple Watch. And you guys maybe during this video hear how often I get notifications. It's really, really nice. So overall, I would say that this is one of Apple's best products in a very long time. I would highly recommend it. The positives just outweigh all the negatives by far. So if you're thinking about buying one of these, I would say right now, go get a good deal on a used one. There's used ones on Facebook Marketplace, Craigslist, or eBay. You can get a refurbished one using the Amazon links down below as well. Or just wait a little bit longer for the second generation version coming out. You guys let me know your thoughts on your Apple Watch. If you guys have bought one, go ahead and click that circle above to subscribe. Check out one of those videos right over there. This has been Max, and I'll see you in the next one.